Hello.
Hi, welcome to the workshop.
Welcome, people of the Snap
Okay.
Network. These are my aliens saying hello. Cool. Shall we get
Okay.
started?
Hi. Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Well, hi, everybody. I am Jimena. I live in Milan, but I'm from Argentina. I currently work as an AR creative strategist for all kinds of brands from Italy, Spain, and East Europe. I love doing full body lenses, and I have so much fun designing dresses and customs for my lenses. If you want to see my work, you can search me by the name of Shimenta in Snapchat. And with me here is Alex.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I'm seeing in the chat some people that I've known throughout the years, but I'm a lens ambassador, creator. I also own a small studio called Mousepack. I'm based out of Manhattan, New York. I work with some top talent in the lens ecosystem. I want to give a shout out to Noah Hulsman and Enoch Ajabi, but also as part of the official network, Celia Goldstein and Wayne Lambo. Just some shout outs with some people that I love working with. But yeah, today we're going to tell you about some cool things that you can do with hand tracking, face tracking. But without further ado, I think we'd like to get right into it. So we'll just get started.
Hi everyone! Today we're going to see some basics on tracking. First, I will show you how easily to rig a model and how to make a full body closed lens. Then Alex is going to show you how you can attach bone rigs to your face and hands in Lens Studio. And finally, we're going to see how to spice up our lenses, including post triggers and change visits. Let's start creating. We're going to open Lens Studio and search for the 3D body template. In my case, I want to set this model as a sort of little pet that will follow all my movements. So I will delete the other elements that I don't need and just focus on the dancing mark example. I will import my model and its materials. If you see these warnings in the logger, don't mind them because this won't affect the performance of our lens. Now let's replace the original model with our own. Here where you see mark replace me, we're going to delete this and we're going to put our own model there. I will make my model a little bigger so we can see it better. There. Now we can see the model is moving, but the arms and legs are not following the person behind. So what we have to do is go to the 3D body tracking element. In the inspector panel, go to match hierarchy. And we're going to search for the hips bone. We select it and click OK. Now it automatically will set all the other bones. Now we see our little character moving as the model. I will set up this a PVR material for this character, set the base texture, the normal map, and finally the material params. And now we have it. We can move it around a little if I want it to be here, maybe to see the person. And there you go. You have your own little character to dance with. So now let's see a little tip for body tracking and close try-on lenses. Suppose you want to do a super cool close try-on lens, but you are not familiar with rigging and find it very difficult to begin. Then I think this tip will be very helpful for you. We can make close try-on lenses easily using the full body mesh, and I will show you how. First of all, you will have to download the reference models in the Lens Studio site. Then import it into your favorite 3D software. The reference models come in T-pose or A-pose. In this case, I will choose A-pose. Now, basically what we have to do is to make our clothes around this model. Once you have your clothes, you should make sure that the mesh you are fitting to the body aligns well to the reference body mesh. Ideally, the mesh should fit around the base mesh and not intersect it at any point. Then make sure the position is 0, 0, 0, also the rotation, and the scale is 1, 1, 1. You should check the Lens Studio site for guidelines on how to export your model with your software. Finally, it is important to make sure that the object pivot is at the same point as the reference body's pivot. Now let's export the mesh as an FBX. Make sure to check in the documentation which is the proper setting for your 3D software. In Lens Studio, let's create a new project. Now let's import our clothes. In the object panel, we will import a full body mesh. Now in the resource panel, we will select the full body mesh and apply into the external mesh the mesh for our hoodie. I'll change this into A-pose and we are done. Let's choose a nice material for a hoodie. Now you will see that the hands are not showing because the model is covering them. I will show you now how to set an occluder for the hands and the neck. I will duplicate the body mesh and change its name. Now I will import a new full body mesh here and name it occluder. For the material, I will choose an occluder. Now you will see that the hands are showing well and also the neck. Okay, let's say we want the color of our hoodie to change when we make a gesture with our body. In order to do that, I will close this project and go to find the template Full Body Triggers. The Full Body Triggers template uses different positions and poses from our body to trigger different animations. In this case, I will only use the swarm example and I will clean everything else. With the screen trigger script, we can trigger an action every time the left hand reaches the swarm image on the screen. I will import a full body mesh and set up my hoodie as we saw before. Here we have the screen trigger swarm. We will use this screen trigger one start to trigger the change of the color of the hoodie. In the other script, we will find some behavior scripts. We will use them to make the color change. I will use this behavior script, just changing the response type. I select set color, select my element, and my material. Now we will see that every time the left hand touches the swarm, the hoodie will change color to pink.
Thanks, Jimena. I'm going to show you how to use chain physics on a joint rig for either characters or something simple like little tubes on top of your head for antennas. So the first thing we need to do is make a joint rig. I'm going to jump in Cinema 4D and make a capsule object. I'm going to reduce the radius and the height to get it to something a little bit more manageable. We have a little too many subdivisions here, so we're going to want to reduce those down. That'll make it easier on the file size and will help a lot with our joint rig. Okay, I'm going to grab the joint tool and I'm going to look at the front view here. The joint tool works the same in pretty much any 3D software, but I'm going to go to the bottom and click Control, click, and then just go work my way up. I'm going to add 4 joints. As you can see in here, and I'm just going to move them around so they're semi-equidistant from each other. We want to make sure that in each joint the rotations are zeroed out. I was doing it by hand, so there's going to be a little bit of finesse that we need to just zero out there. Just as a quick housekeeping note, I'm going to change the naming starting at 0 and going down to 4. You'll see why that's important later. Programming languages start with 0 as their first number, whereas Cinema 4D uses 1 as its first number. Okay, great. Now I have my joint chain. I just need to click the bottom joint, hold shift, click my capsule, and I'm gonna search for bind. Once I click bind, it's gonna add this little wait tag, and we're done. If you wanna see what's going on, I got a little bendiness at any point that the joins intersect. You can use joints in your characters, which a lot of people do. You can see right here in my llama, I have a joint where its neck pivots. So anytime that I move that joint, it's gonna bend. Okay, great. Now that we're done with our joint chain, I'm just gonna go ahead and export this out as an FBX. I'm gonna name it Chain Physics Tube, so I know what it's called, and save. Everything's good here, just gonna click OK. Great, so now we're gonna open up the Chain Physics template in Lens Studio and work some magic. I'm gonna shy the examples here, and I'm gonna click this little plus button from Files and import my tube. Click Import. Cool, so there it is. There's all the mesh and the joints and everything, but we just want that P for prefab. Gonna click and drag it into our objects. Cool, so there's our joint chain. Everything's looking good, but if you see when I move it, nothing happens. And that's because we need to add a script. So in this template, there's a chain controller script, which is really awesome, and it's very simple to use. I'll show you. So you just click and drag that onto your object. And where it says joints here, this is where we want to match the number of joints that we have in the correct order. So I'm going to add value starting at 0 and going down to 4. And then I'm just going to click and drag them in to each one of the values. And now you see that sad little flop there? That means it's working. I'm going to change that to +1 at the bottom. And now we got some jiggling. I'm going to add some rotation. I find that it helps sell the effect a little bit more. You can see right here. And because I want to make this weird, I'm going to attach this straight to the face. And let's see what it looks like. Gross. Okay, cool. Now that we have it all set up, I'm going to duplicate it to make some little antennae here. And we're going to go into the asset library and grab some materials. So I think we're going to grab the Toon material and the Jello. I'm going to start by clicking on the capsule, and where it says material, I'm just going to add the Toon. You can see on this one, I'm going to add the Toon as well. It's intersecting with the face mesh, so I'm actually going to grab them, pull them forward a little bit. I'm going to change the color, make it a nice bright yellow, grab that line weight, and let's check it out. Cool, so that one was fun. Let's try the Jello material. I'm going to go into the parameters and play with the strength just to see what happens if I crank it up. Oh yeah, maximum jiggle. Great, so now I'm going to show you the same principle but on my llama model. So I'm going to import my llama, same thing, add it up to the head tracking. It's a little too big, so I'm going to drop it down to 0.2 scale and put it on the side of my head there. So the chain physics is going to work the exact same way. I'm going to grab the neck, so I'm going to start with the bottom, then the middle, and then the top. And if we get the sad flop, you know it's working. So I'm going to change that to +1, add the rotation, and now I want to make a llama sandwich out of myself, so I'm going to duplicate it and throw it on the other side. I have a jiggling llama sandwich hat, and it's beautiful. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to make this 3D tracked hand, and we're going to hook up some gesture triggers to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the hand gesture template, and right off the bat this is detecting hand gestures and setting them up for custom triggers. So I'm just going to delete these prefabs, and let's go into the asset library, and I'm going to look up the hand. So I'm going to import it twice because we're doing the left and the right hands. And as you can see with the other 3D models, they come in and the P for prefab hooks them all up. I'm going to go to Object Tracking 3D, Hand Tracking. And then we're going to take the P for prefab and just drag it right in. Cool, so there's all the joints. It's much more complicated than our tube. But if you do match hierarchy, click on the object, it's going to set up that joint rig for you. So check it out. A pretty complicated joint rig, easily set up, matched to the hand perfectly. Now I want to import some 2D animations. So I'm going to import this fire animation sequence and this water animation sequence. Cool. So you can see in our resources, we have those two animations. To get them into the scene, I'm going to add a screen image. And if we go, I'm going to name this one fire. If we go over here to the texture, we can grab that animation and use it as a texture. Whoosh. Going to change it to stretch. And look at that, filling up the screen. Going to duplicate that. Do the same thing with the water. So I'm going to rename this water. I'm going to go to the texture and change it to the water. Great, now that all our assets are in, we need to set up a behavior script to get the triggers. So if we click in the objects window, we see this hand gesture control. These are all the options that we have for the custom triggers. So let's use one of these custom triggers. Let's go into our behavior script, set up the trigger to a custom trigger, and then let's have it say play image, and let's pick the fire image. And the visual object is just the scene object that we're using. So cool. So I'm gonna use horn hands for the fire. So I'm just gonna copy that, go up, paste it. Now you can see every time I make the little rock on sign, does a little fire whoosh. Cool. So now we're just gonna repeat that. I'm gonna copy it and paste it, but we're gonna swap out for the water. So I'm gonna do water, change the scene object, and instead of horn hands, I'm gonna go for the victory. So I'm gonna copy that, paste it in here, and let's check it out. Horn hands, victory. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is just change the color of the glove. So I'm actually just gonna copy and paste the custom triggers. So this one's for the horn hands. So I'm gonna change it to set color, and I'm gonna select the visual mesh of the hand, and then I'm gonna select red to match with the fire. I'm gonna do the same thing, copy the victory, paste it down here, and follow the same steps. I'm gonna change the response type to set color, and I'm gonna select the mesh of the hands. But this time, I'm gonna set it to blue to match the water. If we go ahead and check that out, we can see that when I do the victory sign, it's blue, and the rock and roll hands changes to red. And that's it for this effect. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, everybody. We'd like to open the floor to questions. I noticed there's a lot of questions about the body tracking that Jimena can handle, or anything related to chain physics or the hand rig. Happy to answer any of them. There's a lot of cool use cases. Yeah, let's see if we have any. Maybe some of the ones that they answered earlier, Jimena. I saw there was a cool
Sorry,
one
I was in mute.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So I saw a question from Angelique. She said that she was having problems with the clothing that not always stay accurate to the body, and if we have some tips for that. Apparently, she was trying to do a robe and pants. I think in the case of the pants, it shouldn't be a problem because they are really like, they have the shape of the body. What I usually do with dresses or a robe maybe is divide the mesh, like the upper part and the bottom of the clothes, and use clothes simulation for simulating the skirt part of the clothes, and that looks really accurate to the clothes, the real clothing. I think Ola did answer also in the chat that they are trying to develop something that combines the rigging and the clothing, so this the clothes will look more accurate to the body.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool use cases too with the hands. It's fun for filters where you kind of step away, especially for body tracking, because obviously like you have to set up the record, but if you stand back, you can have it hooked up so that it sees you in the distance and it can start playing the effect. There's a few superhero lenses that a few of my team worked on right now, and there's some really cool examples. There's a superhero who has a glove that shrinks, but we have a thumb trigger set up to that, so it sets off the thumb, and we have a rock-on effect that sets off this tunnel sequence that Wayne helped out with. But if you have an Android phone, I'd recommend to go check those out. They're really cool.
Here, I see Karel is asking if the external body mesh only works if the user full body is detected. I think it works like that. We did a lens of a suit that using the like a mesh for a suit, and we did like a coding to detect if the full body was showing using the full body tracking. So we can generate like a condition that if the full body was showing, we show the full body mesh, and if not, we show another mesh. So you can do that using code, I think.
I see there was a question, does the external body mesh only work if the user's full body is detected? I think you just answered that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
yes. Yeah.
What was your favorite lens this year, Jimena?
Oh, that's super difficult to answer. You mean like in Snapchat?
Yeah.
From Snapchat or from? I don't know. What was yours?
I made my llama sandwich hat. I put that out last night. If anybody wants to download it, get me some views. Llama sandwich. Let's look up those words. Also, just to plug, I don't know if you can see it, but we got mousepack.com. That's the website for my studio. Feel free to reach out if you're looking for some AR work. I contract a lot of really cool creators to do some fun projects. So feel free to send me an email at alex@mousepack.com.
Great. And follow us on Snapchat.
Yeah, follow us on Snapchat. Yeah, exactly.
I will be, I did a tutorial about how to Ricky Mixamo. I will be publishing that in my social network.
Yeah, and these videos will be available on demand if you want to watch them later and slow them down a little bit. But other than that, I think that's it. I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne. I appreciate it. Here's my aliens. They're sending you off. Big old aliens. I don't know if you know, but if you hold it, it gets them bigger. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.